Hey bros, happy 2018. I hope you're having a fantastic one. Hope you're getting out, being social, challenging yourselves, living up the new year. This is a great time to reflect on 2017, all the lessons that you've learned, the challenges you've faced, the successes and victories that you've overcome, and what you want to do with your 2018 as well. This is a great time to plan it. I highly encourage it. And one of the things that's been coming across my desk lately is the recurring question, is it possible to achieve more in your self development if you have an accountability partner? Now, many of you have heard the terms accountability partner. This is the idea that you have someone else, perhaps a small group of people, who are holding you accountable for certain aspects of your self development, particularly challenging yourself socially, or perhaps going to the gym, perhaps changing your diet and sticking to your new meal plan, avoiding Burger King late at night, that kind of thing. And I used to think that accountability buddies were a great tool. And in fact, I encouraged people to look for an accountability buddy if they felt that that would help them in their journey. But after 2017, my thinking's actually changed on this, and I wanted to share my thoughts and invite some comment and debate on this topic because I think it's a useful one for us to look at. So, based on what I've seen last year, there are three main reasons that I think accountability buddies really don't work, particularly for self development. The first reason is a practical one. It's very difficult to find an accountability buddy. It's surprisingly difficult, even in a community full of people who are deeply into self development. It's still difficult to find someone who can commit to holding you accountable day after day, even week after week, on a regular basis. It's a big ask for someone, and of course, you've got to give back that accountability as well, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. Why not be accountable for yourself instead of being accountable for someone else? You can only be responsible to remind them, whereas for yourself, you can remind yourself and take action at the same time. So from a pure efficiency standpoint, it doesn't really make sense. There's also what we usually see is people will find an accountability buddy and then they'll feel let down by their accountability buddy because they didn't get their weekly call and reminder, or they didn't get dragged out to go practice social skills, or invited to some new party or situation, or go for a run together. And this brings us to our second challenge with accountability buddies, is that a very central part of successful self-development is developing a sense of deep self-responsibility. When you have an accountability buddy, in a sense, it's another means to sort of shirk that self-responsibility and make someone else responsible for your progress. If you didn't get that call from your accountability buddy this week, then that's why you didn't go to the gym, or that's why you didn't go practice social skills. It was their fault. And for those of us who are in self-development, particularly those of us who suffer from nice guy syndrome, responsibility becomes a very, very central thing that we need to develop. So I find that counterproductive in a way, shirking that responsibility. It's far better to fail 4 times out of 5 at being responsible for yourself and still develop that skill than it is to even have a good accountability buddy who reminds you every week of your responsibilities, and yet you've never developed the ability to be responsible to yourself. I hope that made sense. That sounded a little jumbly, but my point is responsibility, self-responsibility first. Develop that skill. It will benefit you the rest of your life. As a great analogy to that, if you hire a coach to take you to the gym, you can pay them to run you through the weights for an hour and a half every day. And you will sweat and you will hurt and you will see progress until you're no longer working with that coach. And then what? You've not developed the skills to push yourself. So I really see that as a fundamental failure of the idea of having an accountability buddy. And the third reason is very specific to nice guys. What I tend to see when I've had my own accountability buddies is that a lot of times I would challenge myself when they reminded me to, but I did it to impress them. In other words, I wanted their approval. Good job, Mike. I'm glad you went out and challenged yourself this week. Yay. For me, they became an audience. It's just another extension of nice guy behavior. I'm seeking to please someone else. What I want to develop for myself is the realization that I am my own audience. That the only person that I want to perform for, the only person that I want to impress is myself. And that requires me to be my own audience and to be completely and totally making these decisions, taking these actions purely for my own benefit, for my own enjoyment. That means I actually have to remove other people from that equation. I'm not trying to impress my coach, I'm not trying to impress my family, my girlfriend, my friends. They don't even need to know. At the end of the day, the question I want to ask is, what did I do today that impressed me? And I want to have a good answer. That's been one of the most satisfying questions I've asked myself, and it encourages me to new and greater challenges every day. An accountability buddy wouldn't give me that same reward. So I wanted to share these thoughts. Please feel free to give me your feedback.